Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Board of Selectpersons meeting for Tuesday, September 17th. We're at 7 p.m. We're in person and hybrid Zoom. We have call order and pledge allegiance. We will open with a public hearing on our fee schedule. We'll talk about recognition of visitors for items not on the agenda, and I do know of a couple of situations that we'll do then. We'll have managers' financial and department reports. And under new business, we have the Sheriff's Department here, which we will go to after the recognition of visitors and then do our payables and other things. So with that, if we could do the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll entertain a motion to open our public hearing on the fee schedule.
So moved at 7 o'clock.
Second. Thank you, John. We'll roll call.
John DeSantis, Stan Tetman,
Yes. Yes.
Steve
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks,
Yes.
Lisa Albee.
Yes.
5-0, you're opening the fee schedule hearing.
So the fee schedule is on page 2. Go ahead, Matt.
The only change in the fee schedule is an increase for dispose of mattresses from to $25. That's what Maine Waste to Energy is charging us now. And I didn't pick up on that when we updated it last time. Other than that, all of the fees and, pardon me, all of the fees remain the same.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Yeah, should be noted that before it was $15 a set, and now it's $25 for the mattress and $25.
Doesn't matter how big it is, it's $25.
For the mattress and the box spring? Or-
I think that's 25 each.
That's, okay, that's what you get here, so
Right.
it costs $50 to get rid of
Yeah.
the two pieces.
So it's what it costs us as a town, so we're not.
Yeah, so we're not making money.
Should we clarify and state that in the description and say all mattresses and box springs?
Okay.
Right, it could change to all mattresses, but not mattresses and box springs. It did change to each. Any other questions, comments from anybody? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Move that we close the public hearing at 7:03.
Second.
Thank you.
John DeSantis,
Yes.
Stan Tetman,
Yes.
Steve Robinson,
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks,
Yes.
and Lisa Albee.
Yes.
So we're closed at 7:03.
I'll entertain a motion on taking action for the fee schedule.
I make a motion that we accept the fee schedule as presented with the change.
A second?
Mary Ann seconded?
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Albee.
Yes.
So the update to the fee schedule has been approved from 5-0.
15 to 25. Should we get rid of mine last week? No, it was already costing us that, so that's what we need to do. Okay. Back to the agenda. So for recognition of items not on the agenda, Matt, if you would want to open with your
Yeah.
item.
So Joe Beardsley contacted me a few days ago, rather late last week, and asked if he could be part of the library committee. Joe has been a member of the trustees before it became a library committee for years, and he's been an active member of the library working group that was responsible for developing and then refining the design for the library expansion. He's certainly motivated, and I think he'd be a welcome addition and make a big contribution on the library committee.
I didn't realize he wasn't on.
Pardon me?
I didn't realize he wasn't on. I thought he still was on.
No, when we switched to the committee, I think it just in that
Some people, I think,
change.
lapsed through falls with this trainer. And that would probably be for a 3-year,
Yes.
27, in the year 2027. Any other questions or comments?
I would move that we accept Joe Beardsley to be a member of the library committee with a term ending in June 2027.
June 27.
A second?
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we can do another roll call.
John DeSantis?
Yes.
Stan Tetman?
Yes.
Steve Robinson?
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks? And
Yes.
Lisa Albee. So
Yes.
5-0. Joe is on the library committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody here want to bring anything up that wasn't something on the agenda? Sure.
Okay,
You can, we actually have a microphone that people can be where they're at, or you can, you know,
No,
we certainly
I-
welcome you to come to the,
I'm perfectly
Table would be
fine
fine.
here, if that's okay. I'm Sheila Foley from Poland Provisions, and I had gone to the town yesterday because we're having Toby McAllister play a concert on October 6th, and during our regular, it's a Sunday, during regular scheduled hours, and it's gonna be a Make-A-Wish Foundation fundraiser. And he does have a really big following in the local area, but it's also a free event with donations as like the source of income, but there's like no income for any of us. So we're not selling tickets. We don't know how many people really to expect, other than people that are saying yes or no on Facebook. We really haven't published it yet because I just wanted to make sure that we were doing everything we needed to. And I don't think, after getting the mass gathering information and packet from Judy yesterday, I don't think we really qualify for a mass gathering because it's on the schedule right now from noon to 3. And mass gatherings are 300 people or more for more than 6 hours. And I do have copies of it if you guys wanted copies of it. But if anybody does anything.
yeah, I personally, I wouldn't be sure that it even qualified as well, and thank
Okay.
you for giving that detail, because that's not something I can remember off the top of my
Okay.
head. So, I think we're-
So I spoke, I know there's issues with parking, and because we were kind of hoping to close off our parking lot, just so that there's more room for people to use the restroom, because we're gonna get 2 porta potties. We still have the indoor ones, but the St. Mary's has let us, in the past, and I'm still waiting for their manager who was out yesterday, just to see if that could be a primary place. The elementary school has said that we can have people park there. There's no town events going on at that time per Scott, and the library said that it's fine because they have an event at 11 o'clock in the morning, but otherwise they're fine. And I talked to the sheriff's department yesterday. Was it you?
Yeah.
And I did not email you back. I'm so sorry because
I've been waiting all day for it.
Oh, really? I'm sorry. It was a little crazy, but I spoke with Tom, so I did speak with these guys. I don't think because you guys are for more than 4 hours, if an event's more than 4 hours typically.
If you want to hire
Yeah.
us, you can.
Yeah,
It's a minimum of 4 hours.
yeah.
But that's totally up to you.
But I don't really think that it's going to be necessary. I don't know, unless you guys feel like we need it. Tom Printup said that since it's our normal business hours, he didn't see a reason why we needed any fire support. None Such Brewery is going to be there with a mobile beer trailer. And they've done this before, so we're not, and we do have an outside liquor license now. We just got that approved on Friday. And then we have some other local vendors and then people that are making donations, but otherwise it's just a community event for fundraising for Make-A-Wish.
Yeah,
So,
so frankly, for myself,
Yeah.
the only safety concern I would have is just getting people across 26.
Right. And that's why we
That would
want
be the
the
only
primary
thing.
spots to be on the same side of the road, hopefully at the school in St. Mary's.
Yeah.
If we can somehow, but of course, people might see, oh, look, that's open, and then they cross the road. But we'll try and make it in there on our postings that we'll do, that please park in at the elementary school and St. Mary's, so you don't have to cross the road.
Got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this, and you guys have really been very supportive of the community, and this is great. Is it inside or outside?
It's outside.
Okay.
And so we're gonna get a
Somebody
tent.
crowded upstairs, okay.
Yeah, it would not meet capacity. So we're looking to get a tent. And
And for you gentlemen, is there anything that can be done in a case like this with cones or something that would highlight that there might be people walking across?
You might wanna check with your public works director, see if he can put up cones the day before along the breakdown lane. That might just keep people on the sidewalk and out of the road, and it'll warn people driving that there's probably something going on. We don't have enough cones to put out.
And if you narrow that roadway, people tend to slow down anyway.
Can you look into that, Matt?
Yeah, even if people are crossing, I mean, we can bring them up to the crossing light. It's roughly here, it's not,
Yeah.
it's not the direct thing, but if we can
Yeah.
line cones up or do things that kind of force people to come up and use that, the flashing crossing light would just be another aspect that might be helpful.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe
To get
if we had a
across.
sign,
Because they're gonna, like you said, they're either gonna stay on that side, and for the ones that come, we can get them to come and cross at the crossing
Yeah.
thing and not at the entrances.
Yeah. yeah.
So this is under an assumption that you're gonna have less than what you think, right? Correct? You don't even really know?
We
really?
really don't even know.
Yeah.
I mean, and it, especially like weather dependent, if it's raining, like that's why we're gonna get the tent that
Yeah.
hopefully. But even if it's gonna be for 3 hours, I imagine people will come and go. But, I mean, like I said, he does have a really big following. And I think that Make-A-Wish would, like, people are drawn to that. There's a lot of people in our community that are Make-A-Wish kids or families. So I think that could potentially, but
I think it's.
I really don't know.
I think it'd more be a traffic concern over there than anything, I
Yeah.
would think.
Yeah,
So I don't know if, you know.
and that's part of the reason why we thought it might be better if we just blocked our parking lot off that day, so that people aren't trying to pull in and look for a parking spot that's not there.
Yeah, I think that's where.
Because the other ones you can all turn around.
Yeah, we can limit the public from having different accesses
Yeah.
in and out,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
For accents purposes, Make-A-Wish is great, so that's awesome.
I hope it's successful.
I know.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, it'd be great if you all come, yeah.
Is it gonna only be through Facebook? If somebody's not at that event and wants to make a donation, is that something that's gonna come through Facebook, or how can we?
So we do have a couple, like we have some flyers with the barcode that, because there's a team of us at the store that are raising money, and like, it starts off this weekend with a hike up in Sugarloaf. So we have like a QR code
Okay,
that anybody, we can put up flyers too, that other people, like you can use it to scan, so.
yeah, Sheila, one other thing that a lot of people look at in this local paper, the Sunspots.
Oh, yeah,
To write a note to them,
ah,
a lot of people read that site.
yep, yeah, that's a good point,
and have them put the QR code in and
yeah.
we're doing the thing, so.
Yeah.
Going to Sugarloaf, my daughter just got married there last weekend. so,
Oh, congratulations, yeah. It's a 23-mile hike this weekend, so.
fun.
Sunspots.
Hmm.
Okay.
Do you have anything else, Sheila?
I think that's it.
Anybody have any other questions or comments?
So, do you guys want me to fill out the mass gathering, or?
I don't think it's really applicable, right? Because your event's 3 hours and
Right.
it's for 6 hours or
Yeah.
more, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that whole thing drives other support usually and all that type of stuff, which it doesn't really necessarily qualify for. And
Okay,
you guys make the judgment. Like I said, I think just the safety concern and doing the things you're trying to address it, if we're able to do something and, you know, even get tape up to keep people up on the sidewalk
Yeah.
until you get to the crossing or something like that.
yeah,
You know, put some yellow tape and some stakes in the ground or
Yeah.
whatever might be
Yeah.
advantageous to
Mm.
Oh,
get
that's
people to
We
use
can-
that to the success, you know, and hopefully most people are gonna go that way, it's just a matter of what few might park on this side.
Yeah, you can always
Be
put a
careful
sign,
of.
parking for event,
yeah,
if you're gonna close off yours, so they know where to park.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Well,
Great.
good. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you guys.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming.
Thank you very much for
Alright.
doing this.
Have a good night.
You too. So with the board's support, I'd like to move down to the, oh, does anybody else have anything they want to bring up during any other business that's not on the agenda? If not, I'd love to have the sheriff's department come on up and, sure, I mean, I just think it's great, but please be willing to grab a third seat up here, or, like I said, we've got improvements of having microphone across the whole room now, you don't have to go to a specific microphone anymore.
I was hoping to take advantage of that
And do
deal you
that.
had. No, thanks for having us up. It's always good to, some of you had some concerns, but it's good to discuss issues, so we don't get the chance to, some of you I don't think I've ever met. Although we have really great communication with Matt and the other employees of the town. But it's kind of a simple answer. The question was, there was concern because of the uptick in some of the crimes that are occurring in the community. And the most I can tell you is violent crime's up throughout Androscoggin County. It's not just specific to the larger cities, it's everywhere. Populations are higher. Poland's not immune to some of the things we're dealing with substance use disorder issues and things that follow. Psychiatric calls, I think when you guys went to 24-hour coverage, that was a big concern with the fire department and what they were dealing with. And as the populations grow and as things keep happening, the numbers seem more rapid. Or the numbers seem to rise rapidly, the instances, the occurrences. We actually work with NAMI, keeping track of county-wide calls where the only reason we're going is for crisis-type things. And that number is staying steady, but if you look at where it was 4 years ago, it's risen. So you see it everywhere. To meet that, we always offer training, whether it's through NAMI, CIT, crisis intervention training, or other things as well as within the department to support each other. A lot of the crimes that you might have been highlighted, these are people, if not family, it's people that are at least acquainted with each other. So it's not random. Some of them are under investigation, so we can't really talk specifics, but by and large, the ones that probably caught your attention, if they weren't family members, they were at least known associates or acquainted, and there was reasons for it. There was one instance that happened a couple weeks ago up the road, that's still being investigated. That's the only one we could look at and say, those people weren't familiar with each other. But, unfortunately, Poland isn't immune. It's what we're dealing with, and that's kind of the best, based off what we think the question came from, the best explanation I can provide.
There was a guilty verdict today for the double homicide on Triple Lake Road, so that case is, now, I'm sure it'll be appealed, but, so there is some closure on that one.
And from the Hardscrabble, that was the trailer park off Hardscrabble, that was a psychiatric issue, so I believe that's what it's in the system is that. So those are all unfortunate, but it's what we're seeing everywhere.
Questions from the board or comments? I know that I took myself, and that's the reason I wanted to talk about it, because I had townspeople calling me with some concerns. Some of those townspeople were saying, geez, looks like we need to have even more coverage and whatever, so I will, to help prompt some of the questions asked, because I gave no answers. Is the volume such that what we have for coverage is people can't be where we need to be and don't have the county support to be the backup in the role, or how do you guys feel about that?
As with anything, the presence is important, and having somebody in town is great because response improves. But they could be tied up at a traffic stop while something's occurring, or they could be tied up at a burglary complaint where something else is occurring. So you'll never have well, hopefully you have something that works majority of the time, and I believe you do.
I think the case from last week, which I think may have prompted some of this, when the call came in, It was a very quick response. Within no time, we had 2 K-9 units there, and they were doing their thing. So they located one suspect, and the case is still under investigation. They're working on the other one, but I think certainly the county guys don't hesitate to come out here to provide service. We have a great working relationship with Mechanic Falls. So, and in the past, Oxford's come down if they had to. We will go help them if we had to. So we all, you know, we will go over the line to help each other out, because there is only one on duty here or one on duty there. So
But if your mailbox is vandalized and you might be upset waiting for a deputy and the deputy's somewhere else handling something that's a higher priority, we can understand you're upset because it took them 2 hours or 4 hours to show up. But they do gotta prioritize their calls just like you would.
Yeah, to the people the 2 people that asked that, didn't seem to be anything specific for any individual circumstances for them prompting it. It was more of just what they're getting out there and doing, and maybe it's just, you know, a certain amount of rumor control, I guess, for lack of a better way to describe it.
social media
You know,
doesn't help that. So.
Yeah, and you don't have a group of individuals driving around, well, what we've been dealing with isn't a group of individuals driving around looking for opportunities to commit crimes. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, usually that's how thefts and things like that occur. But the nature of, I think, the calls that got your attention, that isn't the case. So, you know, so.
And Matt's reached out to us several times. If we try to keep Matt in the loop to let you guys know if there's something big that happens,
Right.
just so to kind of put the rumors to rest. So, you know, hey, this is what's going on. So we have a very good rapport. And
Or we'll have
Yeah,
Tom
thanks.
call him, because he's there sometimes.
I think it's just public awareness. A lot of people in the neighborhoods, they know what's going on, so.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, and if there's any questions about anything that comes to mind later, or you want us to come back at any time, it's never a problem. Usually we can accommodate. Right now it's budget season, a little hectic, but we'll get over that as well, so. But as far as your contract goes, I think it meets your needs. We're actually meeting with other towns now that are considering the same thing. And it's interesting because they want the relationships that you have from daytime patrol, but when you hear their concerns, it's things that are happening at nighttime, which brought us to 24-hour coverage here, with fire rescue personnel being concerned of the things they're going to. So we've never been involved in the ground-up build of a contract, so it'll be interesting to see. And it was driven not by the selectmen, but by people in the community. But it's always, when they get a vote on it, you know, they want it, and
Right.
then you gotta pay for it, and I think everybody's going through.
Sure, I mean, that's when people ask, well, okay, get more cover, I didn't have any discussion of what that meant
Mhm.
from a financial standpoint. I just listened. I didn't provide anything.
So, and we're optimistic, because if, the conversation happens more frequently in some of these communities, then you're probably getting closer. And what it does, it gives us more resources to spread out with what we already have, so, that benefits everybody.
How you doing on staffing? I know that generally speaking, things were tight to get staffing you require.
We've had, the jail was shorthanded for a while, we're finally like 1 or 2 short compared to like the 11 we were short. I think we had a change of administration on the jail side, a new jail administrator. So one of the goals was, we can't wait a week to contact people, you gotta process it quicker. So I think we've been more successful, where I think now we have 1 or 2 openings. On the patrol side, we've weathered the storm that other departments had, where it didn't really affect us. But we recently had 2 resignations on the county side. Both the same day, they're both going to the same department. It was for salary increases, One asked that their letter of resignation go to the commissioners, so the commissioners are aware. There's been, like every field, market adjustments. Our guys negotiated a contract before everybody else. They have a year left. So some is a concern of we're gonna lose quality people, and that's always a concern, because, we have a good investment in these people. But we also understand some of them are raising young families, so. We're hoping that we can attract as good of people as we're losing, and we're hoping that people are patient with the labor contract process. And I do know the union reached out to the county commissioners to, basically show them where the markets were and what their concerns were. So, we'll see how it goes.
What are your minimum requirements when looking for new talent? Like,
Are you for patrol, jail, or dispatch?
I would say for patrol.
For patrol, we actually prefer hiring academy grads. We just posted the ad yesterday and I actually looked at it. So, you've got the basics, high school education, driver's license, able to pass the physical agility test from the Maine Criminal Justice Academy. We prefer that they have phase 1 and phase 2 does, which certifies them to be part-time law enforcement. We used to have a lot of part-time law enforcement. It kind of doesn't work with the demands of the court, the training, and things of that nature. So we've done away from using what they call reserves. But you have to meet the physical mile and a half run, push-ups, sit-ups. We prefer college degrees, but I think we changed that as not a requirement. But we offer education stipends. I think it's associate's 60 cents, bachelor's 80, master's $1 an hour. But overall, ours are pretty consistent with what every agency is asking for, except for we do prefer if they have what they call phase 1 and phase 2 done. Lewis and Auburn wouldn't necessarily want that. We want one shows an investment interest, but the other is we can start training them right away till they can get to the academy, and we will use them on the road. Actually, 2 of the Poland deputies, Emma's at the academy right now, Deputy Stone, she was hired with phase 1, phase 2 done, transferred from the jail, and Deputy Neal, it's the same thing, and he'll be going to the academy in January, so.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you've received decent candidates through like LRTC program. I know CMCC locally has the law enforcement program, if those are ideal candidates for you.
Yeah, Deputy Moran, who's now corporal, we hired him from the CM program, and he went to LRTC, I believe, before. Deputy Stone, she was also the CM program. I think a large percentage of our patrol division, at least the hires we've had over the past 8 years, have some degree of college, if not military experience. So we've been pretty fortunate at attracting good candidates. The last time we hired a deputy, I think we had 5 full-time certified officers that applied. So we don't just fill seats, we try to find the blend and what we're looking for, so.
You want an application?
I have someone that's getting out of the military. I know someone, I'll try to connect you guys.
I think Steve had a
Yeah,
question.
Steve?
Age.
21,
It's 20 with 60 credit hours or 21.
yeah. But they gotta be 21 to be full-time certified graduate of the academy. Back in the day, the theory was you wanted people that were like 23. By default, we've kind of fallen into that, but obviously we had a 21-year-old candidate that was, and Dylan was on the younger side when we hired him, and that he's worked out very well,
It's in his blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the few interactions I've had with your deputies, I've been very impressed with their professionalism and how they handle the situations, so
Good.
you guys are doing a great job.
Happy to hear that, thanks.
The many interactions I've had.
Wow.
You guys are phenomenal, always.
I've had none.
No, so we just posted yesterday out to the public, and I know we had one in-house candidate apply, and then we had another academy certified, and we'll post it till we get a flu, because it's very rare to have 2 resignations. But the PE they're going to, not only was a wage increase, they were offering a large sign-on bonus too, so, it's- I would rather stay-on bonuses than sign-on bonuses myself, but, I get it.
It's the market and world that we're living in at the moment, right?
Very competitive.
Yeah.
Well, great. I really appreciate all of your effort to come out here and do this and take your time to come out here. It's great, and.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Oh, another question, Bonnie.
I just want to thank you guys, because you guys do a bang-up job.
I think
Thanks.
Absolutely. That's how I wanted to close, and please pass it on to all of your team.
Well,
Well, they're probably all watching, so whenever we go anywhere, they tend to follow, and then they'll give us feedback on the way, why didn't you tell them this? They probably give us more deputies.
So it's clear that you're not giving them big raises and all that. All that.
That's not my decision.
I understand.
Thanks.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Thanks for
Thanks,
coming
guys.
out, guys.
Thanks for
Really
coming out.
appreciate it. especially with the short notice.
Not a problem.
So you can on the agenda or something. Let's move on, I think, to Matt's.
So those guys just headed out, and I can tell you, I had some scumbags come and do some shady stuff behind my house. They showed up. And they did their job.
Well, they told me to leave.
Not once, but twice.
Yeah.
2 times it happened.
They asked me to leave, so I did.
It was him! It was him!
They couldn't see me, I was too short, I was hiding behind that bush. Yeah, it's true, they're
No,
great.
they did it.
Yeah.
Matt on page 9.
Town manager report for 17 September. The customer service desk is going to be closed next Monday, the 23rd, from 12:45 to 2:15. The clerks are attending an online training class with animal welfare. It's a new procedure, and they all want to do it together. Paving, Lewiston Junction, Dunn, Torrey, Everett, Belanger, Hideaway, and Heath roads are complete, with the exception of hand placing driveways, which may be done by now. Johnson Hill and Russell Road won't get done this year. There won't be enough time. The Auburn Water and Sewer District, I attended an annual Measure of the Lake event. I listened to various trustees speak about water quality issues. The Auburn Lewiston Airport, we reviewed the audit. That's good job there. Authorize a new lease and modification of several others to conform with FAA requirements. That's been a several-year effort to bring their airport in compliance with the FAA statutes and requirements. The MMA Executive Committee is attending an annual strategy session from Wednesday through Friday in Ludlow, and I'll be back in the office on Monday. A couple updates on various projects. The library, we're in the midst of renovating the conference room. The wiring's been run for the new fixtures. Sheetrock has been installed. Painting has started. It's almost complete. The finished conference room will include a big screen TV, electric fireplace, new chairs for the conference room table, an overstuffed chair or love seat near the fireplace. We decided not to reinstall the bookcase that was at one end, instead we'll buy a nice cabinet, and that work is funded by the Maine State Library grant. I was down there earlier today with the library director, and it looks really nice, big improvement. Stormwater project, some concrete elements for the stormwater system have arrived. You can see them just behind the library. Once we have all the material in place, Public Works will start construction, and this work is funded by a Maine DOT grant. The transfer station improvement project, the site plan reviews scheduled for September 24th planning board meeting. We submitted a minor permit revision application to DEP, and all this work is funded by our EPA grant. Excuse me, pending any questions, that's the manager report.
I was going to say, I stopped down in the library, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and it really is looking nice down in that conference room.
Yeah,
Looking forward to see it all finished and having furniture in there.
Yeah, where I was out of town on Thursday, I didn't get a chance to go. That's when we normally had a meeting downstairs for the Conservation Commission. And I would be there and get a chance to look at it, so I'll need to make a special trip to go take a look at it.
Yeah, anytime anyone wants to go down and take a look, please do. We're pretty excited about that. The idea is that people would use that for remote work. We've had a couple of folks that use that space for Zoom job interviews, and wish them every success. And the big screen TV is not to watch football, but it's so that if you have a meeting, you can cast your Zoom image to the screen and see people a little better if you want to display graphics and that kind of stuff. But it's going to be pretty nice, I think.
And Matt, I had one question related to, so we certainly upped our budget this year for paving, so the Johnson Hill and Russell Road just isn't gonna get done. So that just means we won't expend all of the money that we authorized?
We're going to have to look at that when we pay all the bills here.
Okay.
But I think we'll have some money left over. But Adam and I were talking about that the other day, and I don't want to give you an answer until we've had a chance to see the bills come in. But they're just running out of time to get to those two roads. And we think that'll be all right for one more year.
So it's not financial, it's just time?
Time.
Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we can move on to financial, please.
Okay, little different format just because I picked up the way we printed out, but the information is all pertinent. We're 21.15% through the year, and on the revenues, you can see motor vehicle excise is just under 25%, so that's a good news story. The other thing I wanted to highlight on revenue was the Camp Connor payback has been made of $14,000, so we've done that. We're still pretty early in the year, so there's no real issue with our expenses yet, but I'm looking at the expense summary sheet now. And as I go down that, if you look at in community services, beach maintenance, it's at 61%. Why? Because it's seasonal. That's when we spend that money. It's in the summer. The general assistance is a little bit high because we've been helping people. Ball field maintenance, that's up there because we're obviously doing ball field maintenance, but that's okay. The law enforcement is a little high, but that's because of the contract timing. Same thing with animal control down there at 35.22%. And our folks over at RSU 16, that's just a little bit higher than the glide slope at 23.87. That's just due to timing of payments. And pending any questions, that's the financial report.
First, I'll entertain a motion.
Move that we accept the financial reports as presented.
Here's a second.
Second.
Thank you.
John DeSantis? Oh, sorry,
Discussion.
we're gonna have some discussion.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that I wanted to highlight that the ambulance for Mechanic Falls is almost at 32%
Mhm.
year-to-date, so well above the glide slope and to an $88,000 expectation, so I guess we're busy servicing that community 6 to 6.
I'm glad to see that's doing well, I guess. Means people are getting.
Yeah, and then we're getting even the payments coming in is
Yeah.
good news in that respect, so. Any other questions? If not,
John DeSantis?
Yes.
Stan Tetman?
Yes.
Steve Robinson?
yes.
Mary Ann Hawks?
Yes.
Lisa Halvey?
Yes.
5-0, you've approved the accepting the financial report.
Department reports, at least I think how it came through, there's just a couple of department reports that we have. We don't have all of the ones that we typically have.
Yeah, we
Is that,
had a misstep on collecting those.
okay. I mean, we can put them into the next meeting or whenever.
You know, they're cumulative, so I think we might just wait till the end of the normal cycle, unless there's something really important that we want to highlight.
Is there anything there, members, that want to ask about or comment about? We can go on to payables.
I make a motion that we pay our bills for fiscal year 2025 in the amount of $1,747,230.71.
Here a second, please.
Second?
So John DeSantis?
Yes.
Stan Tetman?
Yes.
Steve Robinson?
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks?
Yes.
And Lisa Halvey?
Yes.
So by 5-0, you've approved the payables.
Now we move on to any other business, and if I can, I want to jump in first. Our next select board meeting is scheduled in
First of
November.
October.
First one.
The first one is November, I'm sorry, so we're trying to provide enough notice, is for November 5th, which is election day, and given that that's the presidential election, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, I think it would be wise, and we wouldn't have, like we don't have Nikki here tonight because of the election or whatever, it'd be wise to reschedule that meeting or cancel that meeting.
Can I make a recommendation? Why don't we
Open up.
we could say not hold it for now, and as we get a little closer, if we need to reschedule, there's something pressing that the board needs to vote on, we could, do it perhaps the Wednesday, the next day, or something like that. But I think we might be able to wait till the second meeting in November and just have one November meeting, if that sounds reasonable.
So then we should tentatively keep that Wednesday open if we can. Fine with me.
Yeah.
Is
I'm
there,
fine.
sorry, newbie, is there like a time limit that we have to give like notice that we're either not going to have it or we're gonna change the date?
I think if I remember correctly, it's 3 days.
Oh, okay.
So we've got plenty of time
Right.
to do that.
It's
And
not
we
like-
put it on the website. As soon
Okay.
as a decision is made, though, we let people know. There's no reason not to let people know.
Right.
But
I for some reason wasn't sure if it was like a month or 2 weeks or, okay.
I mean, if we do just the one, obviously it'll be a longer one.
Right.
Just because we would have all the department reports that are normally on the second and all the type of stuff like that. I don't know from a financial perspective. I don't think there's any other
yeah, I think.
timing things, so I'm fine with that, to just kind of table the concept of, but I guess the notice is that we will not hold a meeting, so maybe we do a motion to actually cancel the meeting for that night, and TBD any rescheduling if required on that would be
That would work.
So
motion.
do we want to wait until October and do that?
As far as rescheduling, yes, I'm just thinking from a cancellation point of view, let's get it off our web thing, let's get it out there that people don't know that we're not gonna meet on the 5th.
I make a motion that we cancel our first meeting in November, which would be November 5th.
Is there a second?
John DeSantis?
Yes.
Stan Tadman?
Yes.
Steve Robinson?
Yes.
Mary Ann Hawks?
Yes.
Lisa Albee?
Yes.
So 5-0, voted to cancel the November meeting unless it is needed, but we'll get that removed from the
We can
website.
use future meetings to try
Sure.
to reschedule, we've got 2 meetings next month that if we need to reschedule it. Okay, that's all I had, so John, anything else?
Yeah, I went to the Androscoggin budget meeting, and I learned somewhere in the future, they're working on some public transportation in Oxford, Mechanic Falls, Mina, and Poland. So that would help people, get people to doctor's appointments and malls and stuff like that. I talked to Matt. I don't know how far down the road, but I know they're working on it. So I think that would be pretty nice for the communities. Plus, when we have that, the new elderly housing coming in, that might help as well. So I thought that was pretty good. And the only other thing I have is I'm gonna have to put this out here because I've been getting a lot of feedback on this from the public. As a, elected town official, I think anybody who's elected by the people should probably try to refrain from getting involved on Facebook and everything with the public, the back and forth. I think we probably should, emotions are already high because of taxes and the budget, so I suggest that we probably refrain from getting involved in any social media conversations.
I second that motion.
So I will say that I had taken it upon myself to just start like an educational, informational post for the community members, just so that when I went to meetings, specifically ones that involved the school and the budget, that I could just provide information for people that weren't able to attend the meetings for one reason or another. And I did say on my very first one that, people are welcome to voice their opinions, but I would not engage in back and forth because unfortunately, those things did often go negatively. I personally think the more information we can get out there, the better, so.
Yeah, I think information's good. If it's facts, that's great. I think we probably should not get involved at the back and forth with emotions. I think emotions stay out of it. So I'd like you said, giving some information, but getting involved with deeper conversations is probably not a good idea. So, and that's not necessarily here, but other elected officials and other boards are getting involved in those conversations, and I don't think it's the right thing to do, so.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like anyone is, on this board is doing that.
No, I made it
think
clear, I
that,
didn't say
Yeah,
this
you're just gonna
board.
use
Yeah,
your own
'Cause-
discretion
Yeah,
and trust the people on this board.
yeah, because we don't, we don't wanna, remember, I think Lisa mentioned a long time ago, what about the us versus them thing?
Absolutely.
We don't want that, but on the other hand, there's other board members that are getting a little too deep emotionally, so just wanna make sure that we don't, try not to do that, so. Other than that, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say that most of the things that were ever directed to me on social media or calls or emails to me have been more requesting information to what the facts are of a process or when the meetings are or whatever. I do tend to, when somebody chimes in and says, oh, the meeting's today, the vote's today, okay, I'll share that.
Right, exactly.
Just to get it out there, because if it gets it out to somebody else that didn't know that that was the case, then please come and vote. I never make a comment of how to vote. I do see
Right.
other members of the other boards making the determination in the pitch to vote a certain way or whatever. I'd never do that regardless of the situation, so.
I also wanted to mention that at the last RSU meeting, they're discussed creating, or they have voted to create a new subcommittee, if you will. Community, I hate to say
Relations.
community relations and public engagement. And I was asked to be on that, and I'm very excited to be part of that, sort of getting, like, we've been talking about the information, the openness, and I have to say also, I'm very, very impressed with Amy Hediger as our new superintendent. God bless her, she skipped the frying pan and went right into the fire. And I really feel in my meetings with the RSU school board that I've been attending, that they are really trying to be very open with the situation at hand. And I don't envy any of them, but yeah. So I'm super excited to be involved in that and hopefully bring some positive vibes and, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting to see the process and what they do in the information that they gather. Related to that, I was not able to make their last board meeting. I'm going to make an attempt to attend their next board meeting and speak on a personal issue that I think that the board needs to take up. And personally, make it out there. I've already said it many times, including the district meetings. I think they need to form a subcommittee of directors only to and get information from the superintendent's office as needed. But I think they need to have a subcommittee to understand the realities of their graduating class and what their successes are or lack of success is. And I think that they also need to understand the people that are of school age within the district of the three towns to why they're not schooling in the district of the three towns, because it clearly has an impact on the financials coming from the state and therefore has an impact to all of our citizens. So I'm intending to go to the next school board meeting and request of them of that. That's a personal request. And
I second that motion.
And I want them to be directors only, because I want the directors to be getting the information firsthand. I do not want them they can go gather data from the superintendent's office or principals or other administrative officials within the things, to the things, but I don't want them to take that as gospel. I don't want them to I want them to hear firsthand testimonies and witnesses to why students are not attending the class today and whatever, because I've heard numerous occasions here and numerous occasions not here from many members of the public. I would say it gets to be 2 hands deep of people that have talked about what they've done in the past and or what they're currently doing to why their students are not there or their struggles in leaving there. And I just think that the board of directors need to be hearing it, doing it, and maybe potentially taking actions and providing directions to the superintendent's office. And I agree with you, I like Amy a lot. I think she has integrity and she has a better vision of being more transparent, which, you know, hopefully continues and does, and forming that committee, I think, is a step. But, you know, I just don't want the same railroad approach that they've had in very narrow focus and closed blinders to the situation. It seems like, you know, come and board of directors, come to the meetings and here's your things, and please don't dissent any discussions during the meetings, and do all this other type of stuff. So I'm hopeful that they accept negative feedback and use that for good.
I wonder if, oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, in terms of just making the community even feel better, I mean, if there were some plan that said, this is how we're going to measure, these are our goals, and here's how we're going to measure success. What's happening now is we have an unsuccessful school and they say, let's throw more money at it. And when you're saying, well, explain to me what you're doing here, like how is this improving the school system? And they're saying, but look, the state made us spend this much money and we're going this much beyond it because money.
She's a teacher.
That doesn't, like, no other job, if you were failing and you said, give me more money and I'll fix it, would that be appropriate? Where's the plan beyond we need more money? And I don't mean standardized testing. I don't mean like, let's test so that, you know, the government can give us more money. How would we measure this? And maybe student enrollment is one way. My child is not in that school specifically because of their success or lack thereof.
3 kids going to St. Dom's.
I would prefer if they were here locally.
Yeah, my children went ultimately to St. John's as well. So, yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to delay that, but I just wanted to make the notation that I think that is a huge part of the us and them thing that creates itself, that's really out there, that I don't see by the answers at the district meetings, and I don't see by any other means of hearing anything from the directors, that there's any awareness and consciousness of what I think is somewhat the reality of some of this situation. And to me, it's just, it's doing the right thing for our citizens and the future kids of our town and the kids that are already in there. That's just my personal feeling of it. And I, you know, we have class sizes that are 14 students. The state says, what, 18 to 20 or whatever is the optimum, blah, blah, blah. We have class sizes of 14 to try to help get to a better result, and like suggested, I'm not sure that we're getting the results that we're expecting. So we'll leave it at that. They need to go dig it out. I don't have the answers, but.
I agree with you 100%. Do you know the charter that the Poland Regional High School was based on?
I have not read it, no.
You should read it. It's not, it's not something that actually promotes a meritocracy or even, I guess you call it, a meritocracy. It's not a meritocracy. It's everyone's good, everyone's fine, everyone's wonderful. The charter that that school was based on, I went to a class with a woman, I'm not gonna say her name, but took a class with her. And she was actually on the negotiating board with Mechanic Falls. Her kids went to school there for 1 year, and she pulled them out and said, this is garbage. And she negotiated on behalf of Mechanic Falls. She said it's absolute garbage. So she pulled her kids out. I think one was homeschooled, one went to a private school. And she said, I'm done. I'm out.
Well, I mean, it's not to say that, we don't, like, I'm sure every teacher there has the right intentions. I mean, I'm sure that they're trying as
course.
hard as they can.
Of course.
But if something doesn't work, you don't keep doing it, and you don't keep throwing money at it. That's not gonna fix the issue.
Look at the charter.
So a couple things. So I don't know about the charter, but when the RSU was formed in 2009, wouldn't that have superseded the charter, you think?
No, they come up with and they've created the charter as a group of people that work and are employed by the school district, and the directors created this document that they adopted as being their charter. That I know existed
And that
and
still
the genesis
exists
of
today?
it, but I've not been, I got enough thing, I
I'm
can't, I've
curious
never
about
really
that.
delved
I can
into it, but I
look
think,
into it.
I think
Look it
this,
up.
this
It's
budget
bad.
discussion and all of this around and some of these other things are just leading to why this budget has failed, and doing things, and I'm just looking for them to step forward and accept the reality of we need to dig further and just not drink the Kool-Aid.
Right.
That, I can't, that's how I just individually feel, and, I just, to hear other things of new members that join that, get elected to that thing, and the paperwork and writing that's given to them to how they're supposed to act and do.
Well, but they don't have a choice.
Yeah,
This is the charter. This is what you have to do.
Yeah.
This is the charter of the school. And I think that's in my opinion, one of the big downfalls.
Well, I mean, I think it was, when it was conceived, it was to be forward-thinking.
Right.
It was like this new educational model, but it's not working. I mean, but places like Austin, Texas, have all of these new models that still kind of have the spirit of what RSU 16 was going for, but they're based more in like a, Socratic method or meritocracy or whatever, some way that you can measure success beyond, the 84% graduation rate and the D+ rating and the lowering of enrollment. And the fact that, and I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but the fact that our taxes keep going up and there doesn't feel, not necessarily from you guys, but from the school board, there does not feel to be a recognition of the fact that, my taxes are almost $9,000 this year. That's insane. That's insane.
Shut up and sit down.
And there doesn't seem to be that acknowledgement. Like, don't you care about the kids? Yeah, I do. I also care about their success, and I care about feeding mine.
And I care about sending my kids to a different school that will give them better prospects.
And I mean, I don't think that's unfair to say, and I really, really wish that they were hearing that. And I think Amy Hediger did a great job, but when I asked, what is the measurement here of your success, it was not answered. And so far, no one has answered that for me.
So, a couple things. I know that a few months ago, they formed a strategic planning team where it's several members of each community. So it's district members, it's administrative staff, and also they had asked community members to volunteer. I actually was asked to be part of that, and then I saw the requirements, and with my schedule today, I was like, whoa, I just don't have time for that right now, so I had to kind of bow out. But I think that's still happening. I haven't really heard, so much focus has been on the budget that I haven't really heard much about what they're working on, but I know that it's intense and they're supposed to be looking at some of this stuff. So I can, maybe between you and me, we can find out
Absolutely.
where they're at with that and what's the result, because I mean, they were asking for, quite a bit of time commitment from these, community members, and so, I'd have to assume that, are you on it?
No.
Or no? But I have to assume
I'm pointing at her,
Yeah.
saying you should do this.
So I mean, hopefully that they're addressing some of these tough issues that are super duper complex and I can't even, you know, I personally can't begin to understand all of them, but I know like, you know, you're not the only one that's frustrated.
Well, you guys are stuck in a rock and a hard place. I mean, you got state requirements, state budgeting and all this other stuff. And I know it's tough. I understand it's tough. But, once again, like I said last time I was here, you guys represent us. You represent us. Our best interest. And I know you're doing the best you can do within the confines that you have to deal with, but I gotta tell you, I'm not terribly satisfied. School board especially. And I mean, it's,
Yeah, it's,
So I was actually thinking a lot about this, a lot. And I feel like at the stage that we're at right now, with the taxes, with the budget, school budget, for me coming into this since July.
oh, I don't envy you.
No. And actually, this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm so glad that I'm here right now because I really feel very passionately about trying to help my community navigate through these waters and get through it. I really do feel that way. But for our current tax situation, regardless of what that budget passes tonight or it doesn't, our taxes this year aren't gonna change because we can't issue a different tax bill. So we need to focus on moving forward and getting next year's budget under control and get as much input into that budget as we can. I don't want anybody to think that I feel like the situation we're in right now is a wash, because I don't feel that way at all. But I feel like we're very limited in what we as a board can actually do
Absolutely.
right where we are right now.
Absolutely, yes.
But I am 110% committed to getting my community through this. And I am very cognizant as a single woman on a fixed income of what taxes, how they impact. And I take that very seriously for everybody. And I realize that my son graduated from Poland Regional High School in 2011, so things have changed dramatically since then. This has been a huge eye-opening for me, just to begin this whole process. So when I do say things like, I want to be involved to create more of a positive vibe, I am not downplaying what anybody's going through at all. But I want to try to lift us up and move forward as a community, and I hope that makes sense.
I understand, and Lisa, there's nobody here. It's us,
I know,
and that drives me up a freaking wall.
yeah.
And what I don't understand is how people get those tax bills. And they're like, nothing? You don't show up here?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a communication issue.
I think people are just upset. You know, they're upset, they work all day, they gotta get up and go to work tomorrow. And I know it's like you're fighting all day at work, you fight, and you come in here and you fight, and it just, I understand, school committee, same thing. I went through it with my son in Auburn, it's hard to be there all the time. You work a 12-hour shift, you're up from 4 in the morning until, you know, I'm not undermining it, but
100%.
then you get a bunch of people in here on the taxes, and their tempers start flaring, start going, and it really does, and then it turns into, see how these people are? You know, it's just,
Well,
and I
that,
understand it because nobody wants to be, I know my temper flares up with stuff, so I just,
well, it's like the school board meeting. Yellow tag. You know who wanted the yellow tags? Mine at Mechanic Falls. Because they were paying, or we are paying for the majority of it. So you look on the right side of the room and I got up and I said something and I maybe shouldn't have.
Well, I think you didn't articulate it very well.
I didn't articulate it very well. You got 12 people who literally negated 10% of the vote in the room, and they were on the board. I'm like, why are you guys voting? Go to the polls, when everyone else does. You're voting on your budget. And I don't know.
So,
Yeah, we need to move the
yeah,
topic
yeah.
along.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I just.
no,
I'm just ranting.
remember, a relationship, it takes two, and Steve made a point to the outset. We are here working hard for the people. We need that other part of the relationship to take it serious that way as well.
Well, but
Yeah, but
I think he's right. I mean, I drove in from Alfred. I got here with like 10 minutes to spare to try and be at the meeting. I mean, people work, they're busy.
But it's, like I was saying, that, but they need to get involved, especially when it comes to the kids, school, stuff like that. I'm anxious to hear how this is gonna go for you and how it's gonna turn the school, how we can figure something out with that, because that's in a lot of towns, a lot, and that's a big problem. I'm happy, I've been back in Poland here for 2 years, this is the first meeting I've sat at, and I think it's good that the way everyone communicates here, I think it's awesome, and I'll come to more of these, but I also get up in the morning at 4 o'clock and go to work, so.
I get up at 4 too.
You only live 3 minutes away.
There's also, so the Maine Department of Education is asking for feedback, so this is a great opportunity for the entire community, not just our community, but all of Maine, to provide feedback. So there's some Zoom sessions coming out later this month. If anyone's interested, I can forward that to you, and if you give me your email address, I can forward it to you. But there's some Zoom sessions, informational meetings, opportunities to provide feedback, and then there's, they're looking for feedback, so this is a great time.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
address some of
something I
these
just came to my mind was, I think this is not just a local issue. All we can do is deal with our local, but how we're gonna reach out, we've already talked about it as a board, how we're gonna reach out as we get the new members of the new legislature in November, and we understand who they are, to then reach out to them with multiple issues that we've created and look for their support to kind of change things at the state level in doing, because certainly as people have pointed out to me or whatever, this school thing is not just a local thing, the whole state has
Oh,
failed
it's everywhere.
dramatically,
And
but how the money is doing, Oxford Hills has been rejecting, all the other communities around, a lot of other communities have been rejecting their school budgets and doing things, so this is a big deal that isn't gonna get completely solved locally. I do hope that the look at and the aspects of part of the budget that we do control with our own formula is changed. And I will be trying to advocate for that and bring understanding to that, to not only the board of directors, which I think is really important. And we do have, if the Poland Board of Directors vote in favor of making a change to 100% student count, which is what I'm personally advocating for, then, and they were to advocate for that, then it's a done deal. It's gonna go to the voter booth. It's gonna go to the actual doing, because we carry, 64% of the vote. So with the 5 members, that's just how it is in the mathematics of it. But then when it goes to the voting booth, it's one Poland person, it's one from, each vote is individual. So Poland is gonna have to carry the way if the other 2 communities don't wanna be paying a little bit more. We're gonna have to carry the way with making that be the majority and making that vote come out, just like in total, it's been rejected because Poland, for the large part, has been the most town that's been rejecting the votes to get us to where we are this evening as far as the vote is concerned, so.
So what was the percentage on that?
We're about 64% of the budget, so whatever that percent is in doing is what our percent, Nikki or whatever else, it could be 63 or whatever, but they So every time they raise their hand, it's more than one vote for a polling person, and they have to actually tick it off and say, okay, how did the 5 polling people do? So we need the 5 people to show up and be there. I was disappointed at the last district meeting that there was only 9 members or 10 members of their board. If you look at the rest of the thing, you got 12 people there, but a couple of them were the superintendent administrators, they weren't directors. So of the 15, they weren't there. So I don't know why, and there's obviously personal things that can come up and do, but we need the members to be there in the
Yeah.
vote time.
And there's some great directors on the board. I spent almost an hour venting to one of the school board directors. Alicia, asking about a lot of the topics you're bringing up is like, how do we measure success? Like, how do we hold teachers accountable? What makes it really hard is, so looking at the budget, if you need to cut it further, they would be looking at cutting teacher positions, and there's a whole formula, because all the teachers are in union. So there's like a process, and every teacher is, it's a point system. So the longer you've been a teacher, you get a lot of points for that. If you have a master's degree, you get points for that. And so unfortunately what ends up happening is that some of the more senior tenured teachers are the ones that get retained, and it's some of the, fresh talent, newer teachers coming in that have lower salaries that would get cut first. And the problem is how do you address like underperforming teachers? Like, how do you address that? It makes it really hard with the way it's structured today, and especially with the union. So it's not gonna be an easy problem. I did wanna point out, so on the last school board meeting, the board did make a motion and are moving forward with reviewing the local cost sharing formula, which based on budget 3.0, it impacts about 5 million of the budget. That's the portion that we do have a say. So currently, based on the 2009, when they formed the RSU, it was 90% enrollment, 10% valuations. So they did.
Opposite way,
Opposite.
90% evaluation.
90%, yeah, sorry.
90%
The other way around, 90% valuations, 10% enrollment. So they did vote, and that was based on a weighted vote because Poland has more voters and do pay a bigger portion of the budget. One director's vote counts as 94 votes compared to like Mechanic Falls, which is 57, and Minot, which counts as 50. So it is weighted when they do vote for things.
Okay.
So it did move forward, and it's a process. So based on Maine state statute, it is a multi-step procedure for them to get that changed, but they are moving forward with that, so.
Again, I don't envy you guys at all. What do you guys get paid, like $100,000 a year? Because I wouldn't do it for less than that.
All right, Stan.
Yeah,
do you have
I
anything?
got 2 things. When will absentee ballots be available? Not available, but when can we apply for an absentee?
You can apply now for absentee ballots.
Oh, when I came in the other day, they were busy with the
Yeah,
school
they're
thing.
busy, but you can apply now, you can go online and apply for it.
Okay. The other thing, just want to mention that on Saturday, September 28th, up at the Poland Spring Resort, there's Poland Heritage Day. It's going to be from 10 to 3. There's going to be entertainment there, there's games for kids, it's free. They're hoping to have, I don't know if they were able to do it, an antique car show, and a whole bunch of things going on. It's a great community day, so hopefully we'll have weather like this, and a lot of people are going to show. Usually about 2,000 people show up if there's nice weather.
Can we have Stephen and John go in the dunk tank?
Fine by me. I did it 1 year and that was it.
I have to buy a new bathing suit.
Not me, I'm like a cat. I don't like to get wet.
Just jump out of the water?
Like,
That's what I have.
Thank you, Stan. Mary? Anything to
Nope.
bring up?
No, just a reminder of our workshop.
Yeah,
Thursday.
so that was gonna be the final thing I was gonna make note from a calendar perspective, is that we're joining the CDC on Thursday evening, 5:30.
5:50.
It's gonna be held at Poland Provisions, and they're gonna be talking about their goals and their things and discussions around that as a CEDC group and stuff, so.
You said
All
CD,
benefit.
CD,
CEDC, so it's a Community Economic Development Committee,
I'm half deaf.
it's fine.
He's thinking
CDC.
They're
And,
pro-local
uh,
business.
Yeah, so they're a committee within our town
Yeah.
and doing, and they're holding a thing and just looking to gather information, communicate whatever is on their thing, but they've invited us individually to all go. And I think we all are, I
Yeah.
picked up the email traffic, so.
And it's just an informal workshop, it's not open to the public, but we're just letting everybody know, because we'll all be there, but there's no voting, there's no decisions being made or anything like that, it's
Yeah,
completely.
so-
Can I get a breakfast sandwich?
I think they stopped serving
You should have asked
food
Sheila.
at like 3,
Yeah,
but sometimes they have pizza and stuff like that. Like they had, it's their 1-year anniversary over there, so they actually had, some live music and, pizza, it was really good. Grab a slice from working over here.
all right, if nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Yep, and I'll second.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetton.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Thank you.
Mary
Yes.
Knox.
Yes.
Lisa Halby.
Yes.
We are adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.